Turning to Iran now. Iran is not violating the nuclear agreement by testing ballistic missiles. That, according to U.S. officials. But the controversial tests are a likely UN violation and have Congress threatening new sanctions. Plus concerns that a report on Iran's nuclear deal has been scrubbed of any substance. Fred Fleitz is the Senior Vice President for Policy and Programs at the Center for Security Policy, and he joins us now live. Fred, good to have you here. Welcome.
Good to be here.
You wrote a piece in the National Review describing this sort of second hidden component of this deal that not a lot of people are aware of, and I want to quote from it. You say, quote, due to new UN Security Council and IAEA resolutions, the agency will only monitor and verify Iran's compliance with its JCPOA commitments and will no longer provide broad reporting on its nuclear program. Well, a lot of people are obviously asking why, what's behind all this. You go on to write, because its Board of Governors closed the file on the possible military dimensions of Iran's nuclear program. But it gets worse, you write. Not only are the new IAEA reports much narrower in focus, they also omit important data on how Iran is complying with the nuclear deal itself. How does one explain this?
Well, those of us who follow this issue were just puzzled over the last few months that these reports became so vague, important data was missing, and certain things weren't being reported on at all. Well, the head of the IAEA said, well, my hands are tied. Under the nuclear deal, Security Council and IAEA resolutions that provided inspection mandates to do this were removed. And I also believe that the IAEA has been told privately by the United States and Western states do not report on this anymore because Iran does not want detailed reports, and we want this deal to go through.
We'll get your reaction to what John Kirby said about this earlier this week, the State Department spokesman. He said, we are confident that the IAEA has the authority to do its job and that the access it needs to verify compliance is going forward.
Yeah, I was sort of puzzled by that statement. I would note that the next day, the U.S. ambassador to the IAEA backtracked a little bit and said, well, we would like more expansive reports. But the reports aren't there. And important aspects such as Iran's efforts to build advanced centrifuges during the deal, there's no reference to them in these reports. And nothing's going to change until a new IAEA resolution passes to institute new inspection mandates, and I don't think that's going to happen.
The very day your piece was published in National Review, Iran launched 2 new ballistic missiles which are capable of reaching Israel. Written on these 2 missiles, and I quote, it was written in Hebrew, Israel must be wiped off the face of the earth.
It was just stunning. Look, a nuclear program, Doug, has 3 parts: making nuclear fuel, making the warhead, and a delivery system. These missiles are a delivery system. Iran is the only country in history to have a ballistic missile system with missiles that can reach 2,000 kilometers without having a nuclear weapons capability. These missiles are for delivering nuclear weapons against the United States, Europe, and Israel, and this should have been in the deal, but it isn't.
Out of time, but very quickly, what is the Obama administration's long-term intention with this deal?
I think the administration hopes to basically do nothing for the rest of its term, because this is a legacy agreement for the president, and the Iranians know that.
Fred Fleitz for the Center for Security Policy, thanks very much. Appreciate your insight.